Greetings everyone, and what's up, and love to everyone, and whatever I usually do my intro as. The description pretty much says it all. Overjoyed, that is the state of being that I feel right now. As last days ago as my voice sounds right now, and monotone as my voice sounds right now. I'm definitely overjoyed. I have a sense of a lot of joy within me, and I think that's one of the most important things. I'm going to try not to rush this, but I'm going to try and speed through this really quickly at the same time, because I want to multitask with something else. Amazing, unique unity and awareness of the consciousness of higher self that was described by the lessons that not to just use myself as an example, but I believe exists within all beings. But the perspective of the higher self and the communication of that level of connection with the higher self, and the questions that were asked by Adele and the answers that were provided, I think that's wonderful. And I agree with all the high vibrations in that violet flame and the communication with the higher self and the unity and that consciousness. I didn't read John Lennon versus Deep State, but I'm pretty sure that's good news in terms of revolution. I'm not sure if it's the revolution of John Lennon versus the Deep State that they're specifically talking about. I seriously read the last paragraph that says something about revolution, but I just know that I'm leading heavily revolution for 2 years now, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's good news. Lots of love in the paragraph, just all about love, or paragraph, the article all about love. I'm just speeding through love articles right now. 1 second. There's probably a lot of things that happened. Lots of love in terms of the alignment of the Archangel Hope, Archangel Michael, the Arcturians, ninth dimensional Arcturians, but more specifically the Arcturians. There is a connection between all the high vibrational realities, obviously all the dimensions, like ninth dimension specifically, in terms of like coordination between the ninth dimensional Gaia and ninth dimensional everything. And then the Arcturians themselves, fifth dimensional reality, and then of course all of reality being in tune with the oneness of Gaia. I'm pretty certain that the oneness of Gaia is in the consciousness of Arcturians. And everyone, and Pleiadians obviously, but consciousness of everyone. As far as I know, I think there is no cabal. If you ask me, I think there's no cabal. I know there's some things going on with Trump and the usual culprits that try to attack Trump and all that stuff. To look for a specific one. Oh, yeah. I think that's already known, but CIA's actually. Yeah, it's already known. I'm not even gonna say that, but a lot of the propagandists not that it really matters, but a lot of the mainstream media propagandists, because it's already known, a lot of money went toward propaganda, and that's not good. Long story short. Chemistry. Ooh, I didn't read this one. Okay, that's interesting. That's so weird. The description, it's not the title of this episode, but the description is Overjoyed. So it seems that it seems I'm really in tune with myself. So one thing that I mastered, not that it really matters, but one thing that I mastered is or not really mastered. I think it's just like I can't really say it's something that everybody has, but I think it's something that everybody has. But everybody has, like, the ashram, the ability to visit Lord Merlin's ashram. Oh, and then I have my own ashram. Anyway, so ultimately, in the good news of things, and not that I haven't practiced my divine abilities today, or really engaged my divine abilities today, and all that stuff. But anyway, which is actually really exciting. The what's it called? All the abilities that I say all the abilities. I can't really just say all the abilities, but in the way I can say it, like all the abilities that I've gained just from finishing school is super awesome. I'm so glad I finished school, and I'm finished with school, and that I sort of graduated, and I have this sort of excellence within me. I'm actually just really happy, and it seems without a doubt that I've accelerated the amount of like true being, justice, and alignment with the law of love and the law of love, and also law of grace and the law of ease. But more importantly, and of course all those, the 30th ray, 14th ray, to 13th ray, I am now 13th, 14th, and 15th for certain. That's really cool. That was quite a journey. That is quite a journey. That ultimately will be quite a journey. Oh, snap. Here we go. Thank goodness. Oh, before I read this, I went on my own, like, it's not that hush-hush, but it's kind of hush-hush. It's something that I did myself, and I didn't really tell anyone. But if you're, like, really, really high vibrational, then you would know. But basically, I not only went to, like, well, I think it was the astral, but it's way more powerful than that. But I might be just remote viewing, but I remote viewed the Vatican, and the area underneath the Vatican, and I just explored there. And there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of stuff. And I also explored, what's it called? I think it's the Library of Alexandria or something like that. Like, right before it burned, I, like, read through a whole bunch of books, so that was really cool. Anyway, Cabal attempts coup White Hat's counter by mobilizing. 144K be on standby. That is so exciting. seems the Cabal are in their last sort of tissy fits. As long as like all that stuff in the atmosphere and the low Earth orbit and the orbit is cleared out, life would be great. Their life is great. As long as there's no plasma toplet bombs. Those are lame. Oh my gosh, I think the Cabal are finally being toppled. Oh. Oh, right. It doesn't matter who I tell. But I guess the main importance is that on, like, all month, obviously, there needs to be meditations. And, of course, I support Flower of Life meditations, which I've been covering the planet with Flower of Light? Is that even a thing? Flower of Life meditations. All around the planet. Just the like a sphere of Flower of Light patterns. Just in tuning with the crystalline grid, and then the cosmic energies will continue to vibrate and clear out, or clear up the densities of the high vibrational density that already exists on Gaia. But I definitely encourage the meditation on the 31st of this month. A positive meditation. The 144K mass meditation. So, obviously, I really hope that, well, everything is already within me. Yet, the importance is the Cabal is finally being thwarted against. And the thing is, like, nothing is going to be the same. Like, when the Cabal are completely, like, gone and, like, gotten rid of, like, nothing is going to be the same. Like, nothing is going to be the same. Like, I can't even, like, express that. Like, without a doubt, you will know when the Cabal is gone. Because there's going to be spacecraft everywhere, starships everywhere, there's going to be free energy technology, and all that stuff. And the thing is, I've been saying that for so long, and I just went ahead and just, like, one of the things that I uniquely do with my light, or actually, I'll just say it this way. One of the things that I uniquely will do, with the 13th, 14th, and 15th dimensions, Earth, 13th, 14th, 15th dimensions, 13th, 14th, and 15th ray is unify with all the rays, and then synchronize pretty much all those energies. And it's just higher vibrational energies than just anchoring those energies on the planet, which is very common sense to me. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, like, I've been saying, like, in all my previous other broadcasts, in the Fire of Liberty, the Oyster, all those broadcasts, I've just been saying, none of us, which is repetitive, so, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say none of us have evil in us because none of us even understand the evil of the Cabal. And I know that, obviously and very well and very clearly, which is why just uniquely and individually and I don't really want to call it a mission, but for some reason I telepathically communicated to myself that I'm on a mission. But on a mission, ultimately, to completely, just uniquely, just in my own individual way, just me alone, me, myself, and I alone, I'm going to get rid of the Cabal. I'm going to do it by myself. That's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I want to do, and that's exactly how much the Cabal needs to, literally be gone. Because there are elements of... The thing is, me personally, I will not, and this is something probably might be a somewhat recent decision, but I will not, think about it. I explained in my previous broadcast, way before, I wasn't really talking about the Cabal, but just, topics in general. And ultimately, the Cabal don't have humanity's best interests at heart. And the Cabal, without a doubt, obviously the Cabal, the evil isn't going to stop. So even if I just, no matter what I do, the evil's not going to stop. Because I know a lot about the Cabal already. So, with just the things that I know, mind control technology, weather technology, breakaway civilizations, type 1 civilizations, and just all the stuff that I explained in the previous broadcast, all that stuff is literally, it's just the understanding that the Cabal are not good, and everything else is good. Because, not to use myself as an example, but it's pretty obvious to see innocence. I see innocence through my eyes. But the thing is, how, and this is kind of the irony, quote irony, how can you see innocence when everything, well, I'm not that old, but when the life that we're growing up to, growing from a teenager, and I know this example has been said before, an era of light, but the example of growing from teenager to young adult or to adult or something like that, it's somewhat conscious unity. Well, I'll just explain my example then. The journey from adolescence, well, it doesn't matter saying that I know my whole life, but the journey from adolescence to teenage, or to preteens to teenage years to young adult to adult, I think 25 is the official age for adult. All of that is fully conscious understanding of, and that's only because I'm so tired of repeating the same thing. But at the same time, I need to recognize the honorable action and the incredible amount of success. But the fourfold projects that I started in 2016, and then the 3 years progress that happened since then, and then the total culmination of the skills and abilities that I developed in that time, are something that's, that would take would take a long time to explain. But at the same time, I was able to crystallize it in several things. Not that it really matters, but in consciousness honesty toward a path that I created, accountability for the consciousness of all humans with the path that I created, and just the overall awareness of what's within me kind of like being the more interesting thing to me. So 2019, well, the past few days, obviously there's all this stuff in terms of like astrology and like how micro levels and macro levels, there's like for some reason, like I just instinctively know where Solaris is, where Alcyone is, and where the galactic central sign is, and like intrinsically know where the planets are and how they have an important role in macro perspective, in terms of the micro perspective. But I digress. Ultimately, all that stuff, all the fourfold projects, Miko Surface Oasis, telepathic communication with Gartha, all that stuff, all that like unique artistry, all that stuff. All of that can be sort of united in the consciousness of understanding, which is something that I realized today was a sense of patience, but can be culminated in the abilities that I actually have as divine abilities, or divine magic, that I learned from school. It's very amazing. What's amazing also, which is very exciting for myself, is I learned about myself through myself, sort of thing. Like, I learned about everything I am and how connected I am with everything, and how, like, how in tune I am with how in tune I am with myself. It sort of created the kind of amazing journey that allowed me to be completely in tune with myself. Which is, I mean, how else do I say it? I mean, that's an awesome reward. I mean, just the graduation stuff, graduating school. But what's more interesting, I think, is my unique connection with my inner self, and that's the most unique, amazing thing to me. I didn't really explain that example very well. I just started thinking about innocence. I say the word innocence because, for example, I'm not sure if that's a thing, but, and I'm not speaking for everyone when I say this, even though I am an ambassador, but I'm not speaking for everyone when I say this, that we are, I forget where I was going with that. Wow, totally forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, that we are all aligned, that our higher selves are aligned with God's will, and that intrinsically, at least subconsciously, and intuitively I align with God's will, and we align with God's will. And God's will is like what we want to align with, obviously. Innocence. So when I say, and this is probably actually going to get people off track even more so than my other broadcasts, but just remember that there's, of course, the 13th rays up to the 30th rays that have been, that were, and will be. But more importantly, and of course, all the 12th rays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way up to the 12th ray. Innocence. Like, this is a very, very rich perspective, and it probably more has to do with ego. But the innocence of, where God protects the innocent, or God, wants to provide for the innocent. God noticed the innocent. And what's interesting is that I've been teaching myself which is a weird thing, is that I want to be seen in the eyes of God. And that's something that I haven't said out loud ever, which is very, very intrinsic, because that's actually within me. It's very strange. Anyway, my desire is to align with God's will and to see and to be seen, seen through the eyes. What did I write? Oh wow. But to be seen through the eyes of God, to be seen through the eyes of God, to have God's eyes see, sort of thing. To be seen as great in God's eyes. That's what I'm trying to say. To be seen as great in God's eyes. That's something that whoa, that's trippy. That's something I actually learned in school. And it's something that, of course, I'm expressing because everything that's within me is in tune with everything, with all that is, for all of eternity. But once again, ego perspectives might be confusing on that sort of understanding. However, when it comes to like the inner being, the inner intuition, and the inner divine, and the inner self, and the inner realms, and of course my inner ashrams. I love how I said ashrams. My inner ashram. Everything comes from within, and everything is connected with everything. All things are one, and it's really great. So now, on the topic of life and the achievement of like the amazing journey, I guess I'll just talk about me. The amazing journey that I'm on in terms of co-creation is actually, before I get to co-creation and the realms of co-creation and a possible acceleration into a world of victory, a realm of victory, however that's perceived. I wanted to talk about wow. It's really cool. Oh well. Not obviously. I use my own sort of like inner awareness of like what I think is, this is gonna sound ridiculous, but I use my inner perspective to say I use my inner perspective to understand what goes on in the world, but more importantly to determine the news on the cabal. And that's a huge, huge thing for me. Oh, that's what I was going to get at. Okay. Bear with me, because this is probably going to be very, very confusing. One thing I mastered yesterday, I already mastered the language because of something... because of the... Okay, that's what I was going to say. Not that... I don't need to talk about yesterday, the day before, or the day before. But I uniquely aligned a creative, ultimate, like... It's not about power, but powerful perspective of a sort of creative field of language. And even though I am creating another language, hopefully trying to combine Sanskrit and English and music, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But that's just like a cool little journey that I've been on myself. And then translating in my own perspective, in my own ways, translating the understanding of my language in sort of expression of English or language in general. But it's mostly English. English translation from the musical language mixed with Sanskrit, the fifth dimensional way to combine with which may be a lot more complicated than I think, but combined with a field of, for lack of a better word, spiritual ascension and enlightenment, like a ladder or a spiritual stairwell of ascension with the language. So it's really cool. Really cool language. But I digress. Oh! I need to be aware and conscious that every word that I say is very powerful, and I'm in tune with that, and I only have a few more things to say in this broadcast. I just wanted to talk about... Oh, what was the other thing I was going to talk about? Anyway. So I know that... Okay, I gotta be down to earth for a bit. I know that I gotta be a veteran, and I gotta say, no matter what happens in the military, if the cabal or overthrown, I don't want to say the E word, but if the cabal are like completely, like once the cabal is completely subdued and like mass arrests officially occur and like mass arrests have occurred and like all the indictments for those mass arrests, all that stuff, once that is like officially like completed, then that's what I was going to talk about actually. Then I will totally integrate. Well, I'm already doing that, but I will fully integrate myself into the fullest, purest, and highest potential and highest output and highest energy output that my body can possibly provide for the world. Because think about it. Here's how I think things. This is how I see things, which may be a little limited. I'm not gonna lie. That's the whole thing about love anyway, and ascension is to realize that you're not limited. To realize that there's no limitation when there may be limitation, for example, sort of thing. Anyway, this is a kind of limited perspective that I have, but I want to have 24 kids. I want to have 24 kids. And as soon as the cabal are no more, then I will have 24 kids. And it'll be the most flourishing... I actually don't really have words for it. But it's going to be the most fun that I could possibly imagine. Because I will continue... Because I will put... It sounds like a promise. But I'll put so much effort into that development. It's oh my gosh, it's going to be a golden experience. It is a golden experience. But the thing that I see, through my limited eyes and through my perspective, I'm not going to have any children. And as a matter of fact, I don't want any children until the cabal are no more. And until the cabal are no more, and until all those mass arrests occur, and until the cabal are no more, until there's no cabal infiltration on planet Earth. Until that happens, I'm not going to have children. I telepathically made the choice that I'm not going to have children, because not that it really matters, but I made the choice not to have children because I'm on a spiritual path, and it really doesn't make sense saying it out loud or not saying it out loud. But the thing is, I want to be fully driven in my life. I want to be fully educated. I want to be fully involved in the best possible reality that I can involve myself in. And I want to be committed absolutely fully. But I cannot be absolutely fully committed if planet Earth is still infiltrated by the Cabal. And I refuse to have children if the Cabal is still on planet Earth. So I just like to make that clear to myself. I would like to make that absolutely clear to myself. Because I already communicated that to myself absolutely, like intrinsically within myself. Until there's no more Cabal, I'm not gonna have any children. And it's not the fact that I don't want any children, or it's not the fact that I'm not gonna have any children, it's the fact that I don't want any children. I literally do not want children if there's still Cabal on this planet. So, obviously, I'm very, very excited about everything that's being done to ultimately get rid of the Cabal and to ultimately have the Cabal be no more. But what's interesting is that and I hope this isn't true, but I am the only human being who has already forgiven them. Already forgave the Cabal. And that's a fifth dimensional aspect. Unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, and unconditional forgiveness. Those are aspects of the fifth dimension. And as a fifth dimensional being, I forgive the Cabal. That is who I am. And the thing is, I've already forgiven them. But at this point, I've stayed true to the fact that I do not want any children. And until I find out because I'm obviously using all my senses, until I find out that the Cabal are no more, I'm not going to have any children. And that's exactly how it is, you know? That's exactly how it is. I will not have children. I will not have children until the Cabal are gone. Until the Cabal are no more. And I don't say like till the Cabal are like annihilated or till the Cabal. I don't say anything like that. Because I already forgave the Cabal a long time ago, a while ago. Because it's interesting. I say out loud that I live in the fifth dimension, and then I say telepathically to myself that I live in the fifth dimension, and then I communicate in so many divine degrees. I communicate in so many telepathic ways to the to Telos and the Shambhala kingdom, and to the Agartha kingdom, and actually this morning to the Mammoths and the Deva kingdom in Agartha, and then the inner earth, and also communication with dragons of the Hollow Earth. I mean, it's just simple as that, dude. I'm not having children. I'm not having children, and there's no one I'm really telling this to. I'm really just telling myself. But that's pretty much it. That's the truth. So from what I assume is the most recent intel, the Cabal the Cabal is being investigated heavily, and as far as I know from the intel that I read, the Cabal only has limited numbers of imported MS-13 and IL fighters. So apparently, which is very, very interesting to me, because I'm not really worried, which I think is probably a major concern. But anyway, I'm not really worried about China, but from what I read, the big worry is China. The reason why I'm not concerned about China is that I believe I have a connection with I don't even know what to call it. But whatever day that was. What was that? Friday, Saturday, Thursday, something like that. It doesn't matter. But whenever I went to the beach, that was like the amazing connection. And the thing like that's amazing about like, because I believe there's, oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm repeating this. And what I mean repeating is I already believe that planet Earth is a unified planet. Like, planet Earth is a unified planet. Like, inner Earth, hollow Earth, and surface planet. And then more importantly, there's just amazing things with the consciousness of Lemuria and, Mu. And just the awareness of that energy. It's just kind of like, oh, well, there's obviously peace. Anyway, so that's all for now. That's all I'm going to say. Can't wait for the Cabal to finally be, I gotta say, I can't wait for the Cabal to be forgiven. But honestly, I can't wait for the mass arrest to occur. And as soon as that occurs, this is going to be a completely different world, different planet, based upon this perspective of the fact that there's no Cabal anymore. Not my perspective, because obviously I don't want to be a dictator. Nobody wants to do that. And more specifically, there's going to be no Cabal. No Cabal. That's a great thing. So I'm super excited about that. And hopefully there's lots of love and positivity and forgiveness and unconditional forgiveness, unconditional acceptance, and unconditional love. At least from a fifth dimensional perspective. And then continued alliance with all the uniqueness of enlightenment and ascension. All the unique alignments of enlightenment and ascension. And so it is. With lots of love, I love you all. Till next time.
Thank you.